Hello and welcome again to the Abington Veterans Muster, episode number 3 for May 2024. My name is Travis. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, Abington resident, and member of the Abington Veterans Advisory Council. So it's May, summer is almost upon us. Well, there's been one Memorial Day here in Abington where we actually got snow, but I'm happy to be with you right now. And I want to start off with a thank you to Fred Villa and the people at Martin's Restaurant for this cool coffee mug. I feel like I'm partially now Abington royalty because Fred does not give these out to everybody. Fred, everybody at Martin's Restaurant, thank you for the mug. Thank you for a great conversation last month. And as always, on behalf of Adam Gunn, Abington Veterans VSO, and the Advisory Council, thank you for hosting the Abington, the Veterans Breakfast. So thank you. I'm going to enjoy this, and on to more of passing the word. I want to start off this show with saying that Memorial Day in May is always a challenging month for people. For those of us who served, a lot of us had brothers in arms, sisters in arms who passed on while we served, and we remember those. For those who are also out who served in times of wartime or conflict, those losses become very real and very close, and it's hard to balance that with the barbecues and summertime and mosquitoes and outdoor picnics, so on and so forth. And for you, the civilian who hasn't served, what do? On one hand, you're happy that you're able to enjoy the best this country has to offer, but you see the signs of, hey, this is Memorial Day. Those people are gone and they're lost. I don't want you to feel awkward. I don't want you to feel any kind of guilt or apprehension. I just want you to, in your own way, take a minute and remember that you can enjoy all these things because people in your community, in this Commonwealth, in this other states, fought bravely so we can enjoy the peace and happiness we have now. And as for me, I didn't serve in combat, but I want you to know that when I see people out enjoying themselves, having picnics, playing with kids on the baseball diamond or the soccer field, I'm pretty happy. This is why I wanted to serve, so my children could enjoy these times, so your kids could have a good time during this time of year. It's very important to me that we do that. And I also like the fact that we've kind of gotten away, and this is my personal opinion, there used to be Memorial Day parades. And I really like how Abington has embraced the idea of a memorial celebration. So May 27th at 9 a.m. at the Mount Vernon Cemetery, we're going to have a Memorial Day celebration. We've done it for the last couple of years. It's a really intimate time, and we really appreciate all the people in Abington who come out and see this event put on by the American Legion, the VFW, the Richard Fitz Senior Post 2, the Vietnam Veterans Era Post that comes out and supports this. It's a special time in a really picturesque setting in our city, our town. And we want to encourage you to come out and understand and appreciate those who pay the ultimate price for our freedom. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Cullivan Landscape and Construction for cleaning up the area every year like they've done. They did it last year. They're coming back this year to do the same thing. And it's a beautiful area. And also we appreciate Yaz's Table for offering coffee and refreshments in conjunction with this event. It just brings the whole aspect of Abington coming together in a really intimate but public way. So this Memorial Day, celebrate. Enjoy yourself. Watch some baseball. Play some wiffle ball. I like my steak medium rare with a little seasoning on it. I don't like it well done. And chicken is an art form on the grill. Do all that and enjoy it. But take some time and remember those who paid the ultimate price so you can do that. And if you have time, May 27th, please join us. This ends passing the word. The word is passed. I have a special guest coming up next, Marine Corps veteran, with an amazing story. Thank you. This is a special announcement. We have a contest. Enter now. Hey, it's Travis with the Abington Veterans Muster with another special getaway. We got a supply drop from Sarcastic Swine. We appreciate what Sarcastic Swine does for us to support what Adam Gunn does in the town of Abington and veterans. If you go to Sarcastic Swine with a proof that you're a veteran, you get a 25% discount. And if that's not a reason to eat, I don't know what is. So we went to Sarcastic Swine last month and they gave us a Sarcastic Swine supply drop. So here we go. We have, starting with the sweet stuff first, a candy pig on a stick, a double XL Sarcastic Swine t-shirt, yay, I'm mad jelly, and honey barbecue sauce, honey. I mean, does it get any better than that? And the piece de resistance, the cherry on top, or the piece of cornbread for your, meal, a $50 gift card from Sarcastic Swine. We appreciate what they do. We appreciate their support of the Abington Veterans Muster TV show. So, how do you get this Sarcastic Swine supply drop? You have to watch the show. You have to comment barbecue or BBQ in the comments on the Abington Veterans Services page where this show is from YouTube, and then we will do the drawing, and someone lucky will have this cool supply drop just in time for Father's Day. So again, Sarcastic Swine, everybody who works there, thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it. Good stuff, and let's muster up. Welcome back. We have an honored guest with us today. All guests are special, and today is no exception. I'll get a little drink here. Thank you, Fred. One of the enduring things with veterans, whether it's Memorial Day, Independence Day, or Veterans Day, is the aspect of resilience. And my next guest is no exception. He's a Marine Corps veteran like me. He's done some amazing things and is doing some amazing things. So without any further delay, I want to introduce Marine Corps veteran Jon Brace to the Abington Veterans Muster. Jon, welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Travis. Appreciate it.
So Adam told me about this story about a guy who got hurt and overcame some serious obstacles. Like, you didn't get like a little owie. You got like hurt. And then are doing some amazing things because of that, and how you continue to serve even though you went through this terrible ordeal. So before we get into the good stuff, and it's all good, you joined the Marine Corps, right?
I did. I actually had enough credits to graduate as a junior. I grew up in Rockland, and I graduated halfway through my senior year to go in early.
So no delay for you. No doubt you want to go right in.
Correct, yes.
What'd you go in as?
I started out air crew. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a pilot like my grandfather and my uncle, but I was a little too tall for the cockpit, and I wanted to enlist instead of go officer. So I ended up doing air crew, and I was down in Pensacola, Florida for a while.
Okay. So you're down in Pensacola, Florida, and then what happens?
I was actually sick from MCT. I had a lung infection that just wouldn't go away, so I missed my pickup class, and so I kind of ran the barracks a little bit. They call it duty lance.
Duty lance.
Yep. So I was the night duty lance, making sure that nobody was getting into any mischief and things were going well. Fire watch was getting there on time, and then all of a sudden my staff sergeant came in one day and was like, "Brace, you're going to be gas. Get ready." So gas
is you take your gas mask out of your pouch and you put it on you take it out of your pouch. You put your M6, for me it was M16, right, between your legs, and you bend over and you put it on. And you're going like this, gas with this big thing. It's funny to watch. It's even funnier when you can't do it during a CS event.
Right. So that's basically what it is. You see all these videos of guys coming out with snot and throwing up. That's what my new MOS was going to be, running through the gas chambers. I figured they probably thought I was going to clear up the lung infection.
I was going to ask, did they say, you know what, he has a lung infection, we'll just use CS to clear it up?
That's what I was thinking. That's the only thing I can think. But I went from jet skiing on a Thursday in Pensacola, Florida in the Gulf to chipping ice on a Friday in Fort Leonard, Missouri.
Adapt and overcome.
Yeah, right.
So you're doing that. You're going through MOS school, and then what happens? Because
Yeah, so I got there. Training wasn't going to pick up for NBC either for a little bit, so I worked in the company office, and then we picked up training. PT had been canceled one morning. Rains had flooded the fields, so me and 3 other guys went hiking, cave exploring, where we'd been a million times before. And unfortunately, the rain had washed away the ledge, and I bolted out to kind of see if the ledge was still there for the cave. And when I stepped back on the trail, the whole thing collapsed underneath me, and I ended up falling about 50 feet and landed on my feet.
wow.
Yeah, so it broke both my ankles, my tailbone, ribs, back, lungs were punctured. Messed up my shoulder pretty good. So it was airlifted out by a helicopter and then to a civilian hospital for 2 weeks. And then I was brought back to the base hospital that was April 2001. And I got released in the end of July, beginning of August.
So a long time just trying to do triage and recover from unforeseen grievous injury. What was your mindset like? What was your mental state like when you got out of the hospital initially?
So a little bit sad. Good to be out of the hospital finally.
Right.
I lost a ton of weight. I'm 6'5" and I went down 135 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, all right, I need to learn how to walk again, rebuild. I was in a wheelchair. So it was more of I'm still here, I'm still alive. Like, what else, what can I do? How long is this gonna take to get me back on my feet kind of thing. So it was more of all right, this happened, let's move on and keep going and see what else we can do.
So you're going through that, but there has to be rehab, and you're trying to get back to where you can actually fully function as a Marine.
Correct.
And you and I both know if you can't function as a Marine, you're not in the Marine Corps that long. What was it like trying to get back to that ready state?
It was tough. I had a great support system. My gunnery sergeant, my first sergeant, took care of me. I worked back up in the company office helping. So I felt like I had a purpose and I was still serving. I was helping with a lot of the Marines Rating training group for MPs and NBC. And then going to the gym and trying to put back weight, regain muscle that I'd lost. Then wait for a med board, going to Great Lakes and getting poked and prodded by doctors and seeing what I can do, what I can't do. My left ankle ended up being fused and a bunch of screws and plates and hardware, so I couldn't really walk or run anymore.
I have to think at that time your command got with you and said, hey, this is what's going to happen.
Pretty much. So they were like, all right, so they sent me home for a well-awaited orders to see what was going to happen. And then I got my medical retirement papers in February 2002.
So it didn't quite go the way you wanted, but you still, in my view, it doesn't matter if you got hurt or not, you earned the title of U.S. Marine.
I tried to go back in 2 more times and they're like, you're broken, stop. Like after I was, a little more adaptable and flexible and had built up some of my strength, I felt like I could run the 3 miles. It wasn't pretty, but I could run the 3 miles.
Well, it just gets me because if I may for a second, in the U.S. Army, there are people who have injuries to their legs, have a prosthetic leg, and go back in. The Army's like, you can run, you're good to go.
Yeah. So at the time, because I didn't have the amputation at that time, it was still just fused. The way my ankle, I struggled to put on boots, because my ankle just didn't move at all. And with the back issues, the damage that had been done to my coccyx and vertebrae, so they were kind of like, no, you're done. Because the way I was running was going to end up triggering more injuries and do more harm eventually.
So you're having to adjust to a new reality. And one of the things reading about you was this aspect where you looked at an experimental amputation.
Correct.
And that was wild to me because you're trying to be healthy. You're trying to get back to where you can be a Marine. Not that you're not now, you are, right? But you know what I'm saying, you're not able to do that 24/7 like you'd like to. What led you to pursue this kind of treatment?
So over the years, I had surgery after surgery after surgery on that left leg.
Right.
I had a couple other knee surgeries and a couple other things. In 2019, I had a second fusion, a subtalar fusion over at with the Brockton VA, actually.
Okay.
So surgery was at Jamaica Plain. And it didn't take well to my previous fusion, so I couldn't get my heel on the ground anymore, so I couldn't walk straight, and it was gonna be 7 more surgeries to break my foot and fuse the whole foot down to try and make it even so I could get a flat step again. And at that point I was like, I'm in my 30s. I see all these guys with prosthetics running and doing all the stuff that I've given up. What can I do about this? And I was actually at a conversation with the engineering teacher at Braintree High School. So I actually work in the Braintree school system, and he mentioned, have you ever heard of Hugh Hare? I said, no. He's a bilateral amputee that I worked with years ago. I knew him from rock climbing. Check out his story. So I went home and checked out the TED Talk with Hugh Hare, and he's making all these advancements in prosthetics with MIT. And so that was Saturday. It was a week before Christmas. I sat down, I emailed him my story, and that I was willing to, that I had a high pain tolerance, and I knew how to work hard and recover. Like, if they could use me for anything, like, here's where I am. He emailed me back within 3 hours with the surgeon on there being like, hey, let's get him in and see if he's viable. So I ended up going to Brigham and Women's, met with Dr. Carty, and we did what's called a Ewing amputation. It's a new style. Amputation hadn't really changed much since pretty much the Civil War.
Really?
So hundreds of years of nothing, like no changes, nothing. And they were trying to take it where if you didn't have a debilitating disease, you didn't have cardiovascular issues, that you could reinnervate the muscles and the nerves so there's not as much phantom pain, and those could tie into some robotics that MIT is developing to, go. I signed up, and I think I was number 19 to have this kind of amputation.
What was life like after the amputation?
It was kind of chaotic. So it was right in the middle of COVID. So the surgery, the original surgery date was April 19th, 2020, which would have been 19 years to the day that I actually fell from the cliff. So it's kind of like everything coming full circle. But my wife was pregnant with our first daughter. She was due in July, so they were trying to get the surgery in, so I'd be walking on a prosthetic before she was born. COVID shut everything down, so my daughter was born July 1st, and 6 weeks later I actually had the amputation. So trying to adapt to a newborn and this, my poor wife had to take care of 2 babies.
Well, your wife sounds like a pretty amazing woman.
She's amazing, yes.
Awesome. What was rehab like post-amputation versus before?
I did a lot of it on my own. I've learned a lot of what my body was capable of over the years, and push myself too far and trying not to re-injure. So it was also COVID, so I couldn't really go to a lot of places either.
Right.
So I had bands at home. We have a split level, so I stayed downstairs where I had a bathroom that I could use and get to with a walker. And surgery was in August 2020. I was up and walking on a prosthetic by October.
Wow.
So, but it was different. Because of the injuries I'd suffered, I was pretty adaptable.
Right.
And got up on my feet pretty quickly. Never had to use crutches or anything when I had the prosthetic on. My father's also an amputee. His blood clots above the knee, so I kind of see what he had to go through years before. So I already had that in my mindset of what I was going to be able to do and what I wasn't going to be able to do, and what I could do better and how I could make things more accommodating.
Did the VA, offer any PT, or did you get the PT from somebody?
They did. So I had a visiting nurse come out, and then I was working with the amputee clinic from West Roxbury VA. Amazing team over there. Dr. Blaustein's my caretaker, and working with the prosthetic department over there. Like anything I needed, they were willing to do. We did telehealth visits. We did. I actually ended up doing a disabled veteran virtual challenge for like push-ups and sit-ups, and it was all for like different adaptive mobility issues. So you had clear instructions on, like, depending on what your disability was, that you could do. So I was able to get into that program and do some workout and see some people. Even though it was COVID, we still connect and kind of compete and work out and get some group therapy going.
So let me pick your brain about your PT with the VA and the service there. Mm-hmm. And the reason, Jon, I want to kind of do this is, so many times in circles when I'm talking to veterans or even civilians, the default answer on VA provided care is that it's bad, it's substandard, or it's just lacking. And I did not have the severity of injury you did, but I had a pretty severe one. And I found the VA's physical therapy branch in Brockton really top notch. And even when I had to go back to get adjusted because my body's doing different things, we understand you're not feeling well. Let's diagnose a problem, and here's a fix. And so I'm really keen when people have positive experiences with the VA to talk about that. What was that like going to the VA care center here in the Boston area and getting the level of care that you got?
I had a great experience with it. I really can't say enough things about the Boston VA system as far as like what I've gotten for support, physical therapy. The group over there is fantastic. They actually got me into, I was having some trouble with the socket for a little bit, so I wanted to do some cardio. So they actually got me in touch with Recreational Therapy, which I didn't even know was the thing.
Really?
Yeah.
So, wait, what's recreational therapy?
So it's more like getting you out and doing adaptive sports, like bike riding, like doing recumbent biking, pickleball, tennis, all from a wheelchair.
So I'm not in a wheelchair, but I mean, my PT was like, hey, even this morning, as a matter of fact, she whispers and says, hey, this is going to hurt. Not like, hey, we're going to go out and, rollerblade and ride the recumbent bike today, John.
Yeah. Nope. I mean, I did the physical therapy, the tough stuff, the stretching and the walking and everything, but the recreational therapy, like, it was part of a group of people that were same embodied as me, of not going out with my friends that I'm trying to keep up with, and just the plethora of options that they had. Like Jenny Vulpis is one who runs the Brockton version of it. She sends out a calendar every month of like all the different events, and you can sign up for anything that you want to do. So we do now it's getting warmer, we're doing adaptive golf. So I take them up to Dedham, McGolf, they'll do the driving range. They have the guys with the spinal cord injuries, they have the belts to hold them, they have the special chairs and clubs that they can use. We do every other Friday at DW Field in Brockton. They'll do chipping and putting clinics, and guys that can barely stand up, they're breathing through a tube, and then guys that, like me, that can stand and actually hit a ball. It's amazing seeing them getting out there and doing these programs.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's it like, because sometimes it must feel like you're the only one who's going through this in a group of people, to go with a group of people that are, in the same kind of, like a better term, boat, and see them all, thriving and trying to do this stuff, and the VAs are to support them. Yeah,
honestly, I'm getting kind of emotional thinking about it right now, just all the stuff that they do and the way that they provide equipment, they provide opportunities that like you just wouldn't expect to be out there.
Yeah.
One of my issues with getting out of the Marine Corps was they're like, here you go. Kind of like, and everything I've had to do, I've had to figure out on my own.
Well, people don't understand that. It was an abrupt stop. Yeah. It was like, I gave my road guard vest to the MP, got my motorcycle, and about 2 hours later, I'm like, oh wow, there's no chow hall, there's no barracks. Like, oh yeah, you're on your own, and it hit me. So you're going through this. Did you start looking at adaptive sports further after you start getting, going?
I did. Once I found the program with Jenny and the recreational therapy, and being really excited about it and what they were trying to do, and seeing where I could volunteer more. It got me like reignited a passion for doing this stuff. And I've been working in IT for 20 years, and now I'm like, all right, maybe I kind of want to do this more, because this makes me feel good to be doing this and seeing other people doing it and getting through something again together, because I feel like I'd kind of lost that teamwork and camaraderie over the years. Given up, like I was running a dart team, I was doing certain things, but it's still very individualized. Even golf is very individualized. But being able to do this, and that's how I found last November 18th, like on Jenny's calendar, she sent out, I saw something about a wheelchair football clinic over at Gillette. And I was kind of like, oh, this sounds interesting. It's a Saturday. Jenny, can I sign up for this? And she was like, absolutely. I was the only one that went there. And it was for seeing these kids out there. Like it was just amazing. Like, and so it's a New England Patriots wheelchair football team that I didn't even know existed. And they were running this clinic to teach them skills and get people excited about, that, hey, like you can still play football and competitively as well.
How's that work?
Football?
Well, yeah, with football in a wheelchair, how's that work?
So it's 60-yard field, 7 on 7, and obviously there's no kicking, but you're strapped in the chair, and it's open palm, full hand for a down, so it's almost like touch football, but we're in the same pads, same uniform, same helmets that the Patriots wear. It's a partnership between Move United, that runs the USA Football League, Wheelchair Football League, and the Kraft Foundation.
Now, wait a minute, John. How do you block in a wheelchair? How do you
just ram? Get up there and ram. So that's why they're excited. I'm 6'5" and 260 pounds. So I'm looking forward to being able to contribute to the team this year. But
that must be something, to be in a wheelchair and catch a football.
Yeah, it's difficult because there's no brakes on a sports chair, so you're rolling, you're going full blown, and you spin
for the ball.
Yeah, and then you tuck it in the legs, tuck it in your chair, wherever you can tuck it, and keep going if you can.
I got to tell you, John. And first of all, I'm not a Pats fan. I didn't grow up around here, but I have to think this would be more entertaining to watch than what happened last year with the Patriots.
Yeah, so I don't actually watch too much sports. My friends always give me a hard time, like they're kind of like, oh, like we're gonna go watch the Bruins, and I was like, I don't really watch baseball. Sorry, guys, but I know who they are, but I've always been the one I want to play, and that's why I didn't watch the sports, because
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, I don't play that anymore. So,
So what was that like, getting out there with kids and different people and jamming the wheelchairs?
it was amazing. So my dad's a huge Patriots fan, and he's in his wheelchair. I was able to bring him to that clinic event, and he was on cloud nine the whole time. And then see me out there and being able to roll and compete, and I'm like, I could actually learn to do this, and I could be pretty good. So talking with some of the teammates afterwards, they're like, yeah, come try out this spring. And we're 3 practices in right now, so for the season.
Look, I'm gonna call an audible here. Adam and we'll get a crew from Abington to come cheer you on when the game happens. You got to tell us when the game is. We'll come out.
So they do 4 events, 4 tournaments every year. This year they are Tampa, Chicago, Minneapolis, and Vegas.
Okay.
But they only let us go to 2 of them. So I think right now, at least from practice last night, it was going to be Tampa and Chicago that we were going to get to go to.
Well, at least a practice then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
We will do a practice and cover that.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Oh yeah, I'm totally all in.
And a lot of these guys, they play on basketball, wheelchair basketball. So I've been doing that to learn wheelchair skills, because some of these guys have been playing in a wheelchair for 15, 20 years.
That's amazing.
And I'm new to it, and it's a very different skill set.
Absolutely. So you're doing all this, and as I'm talking to you, I'm watching you really get excited and passionate about this aspect of your life. What else are you doing with adaptive sports and advocacy in adaptive sports?
Yeah. So there's a bunch of great organizations out there. I did a golf tournament for NESA last year. That's New England Health Sporting Association. Their fundraiser is for a winter sports for veterans to learn how to adaptive ski and snowboard. And the part of this fundraiser fully pays for the veterans, so they don't have to pay for it, and they do that every winter. Achilles International, I just joined them. The captain of the football team, so Joe Lamar, he's actually the head of the Boston chair. They were at the marathon. They all had a bright green Achilles International shirts on. They have 3 more events coming up. There's one in Braintree. They're all about endurance and getting these kids out there, either wheeling in the marathons, running marathons on prosthetics. They have a freedom team as well, which deals with just wounded veterans and military personnel. So they try and help them get into the adaptive sports lifestyle. They're in 18 different countries. Achilles is a huge organization. Also working with Good Sports. Our quarterback, Vaughn, he actually works for them. They get sporting equipment to underprivileged communities. So these kids that usually they get hand-me-downs, or it's all used stuff, they get brand new sporting equipment. And then Move United is the sponsor of the football team. They're the ones who run the league. There's 14 professional football teams in the league across the country, and they do all kinds of great events too. So I'm trying to get my way into all these. I've just been exposed to all this and found all of this in the last 4 or 5 months, honestly. So I'm kind of trying to figure out where I can fit into all this and what good I can do.
So you're not idle, you are moving, you're like full speed.
Yeah. Once I jump into everything 110% for better or worse. So.
Well, what's that been like for you? And I think the thing I want to close with is, did the Marine Corps help you overcome any of this? When you were down and going through the pain and suffering of PT, and I understand what that's like, did you draw on any of that? Where did this core of resilience come from, Jon?
Part of it's my father, and seeing how he grew up. My grandfather was a Marine Corps vet, but he was gone for 8 years. He was POW for 8 years in Vietnam. So my dad had a very different lifestyle growing up and he didn't want us to grow up the way he grew up, with 9 different high schools and all that stuff. So he was very much, also he got hurt with back injuries in the 90s. So I was middle school, just about to be in high school.
Yeah.
And it was kind of he's like, all right, I need you to kind of help out with things around the house. You have a younger brother and a younger sister, you need to take on some more chores. I've been working since I was 13, 14 years old. And he always kind of had you can either give up and wallow in your misery, or you can find out something else and you keep adapting, and Marine Corps, adapt and overcome. So it's a combination of my daddy had already kind of instilled those core values into me, and then the Marine Corps obviously taught you a lot of perseverance and how much further you can push your body than you think. Then your body tells you, to stop, you can't do anymore, and it's a mind game. It's about willpower.
Well, I just think your story underscores what we're trying to do here with the Abington Veterans Muster. It's tell these stories that even though life throws you, a curveball, bad play, or an incomplete pass, for lack of a better term, you can still find an inner core of resilience and courage to continue forward. It's just really special to hear about this, Jon.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk about it. And again, like my thing is just never giving up. Like fine, even if you have to pivot a little bit, just keep going, keep moving forward.
Well, we're certainly interested in coming and watching you play, practice. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that the VA has these programs for you. And again, I just think it's special because the VA had these programs, they offered them to you, you were able to continue advocating in this space for other people. This is really special, Jon.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to keep getting the word out because I had to go dig for a lot of this stuff myself. And there's a whole another world out there, and like life doesn't have to stop just because you got injured or it didn't work out the way you wanted it to work out. So.
Well, it's my pleasure to say this for the first time on the Abington Veterans Muster. Semper Fidelis Marine. He is truly always faithful. Jon, thank you so much.
Thank you, Travis. Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hoorah.
Hoorah, hoorah. This is Travis Partington with the Abington Veterans Muster. My guest, Jon Brace, Marine Corps veteran. Jon, once again, thank you for coming on and talking with us. We're 3 shows in. Check back for more giveaways and stuff we have going on, and join us again May 27th for the Abington Memorial Day celebration. Thank you, and God bless.